guys, welcome back. This is round 2 of the Saleucami Showdown filmed at Entoyment. Now this video is brought to you by Out of Art Gaming. My name is Phil and I am joined on this video by...
Hi guys, I'm Amy.
Really nice to have you back on the channel.
Thank you.
So today we have Rebel versus the First Order. So would you like to go through Wes's First Order list, Amy? I know that you're a big fan of the First Order.
Yep, absolutely love the First Order. They're one of my favourite factions to fly. So we have the G-class light shuttle, and flying that is Gideon Hask, supported by Commander Pyre and Agent Terex. There is then 2 Zeta Squadron survivors in the TIE Special Forces ships, and then there is 3 Omega Squadron aces in the TIE First Orders.
What we have on the other side, we have Kev flying a Rebel Beef list. So we have 2 B-Wings. We have Braylon Stram with a hull upgrade. We have 10 Num, and we have 2 Y-Wings with Nora Wexley with hull upgrade, marksmanship, and colonets, and Horton Sam with hull upgrade, marksmanship, and just to change it up a bit, he has proton bombs. So going to be quite an interesting matchup here. A lot of hull and health on Kev's side there, but obviously a lot of manoeuvrability on the First Order side. So what do you think of these lists to start with, Amy?
I'm really liking the look of them. I've not flown the G light shuttle yet, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that flies and that one works. And I also really do like a really good TIE swarm. They're one of my favourites to fly. It'll be quite nice to see those flying about on the board. They, as you said, they are really manoeuvrable, but they also have a lot of firepower as well. Maybe not from the amount of dice as compared to, you know, some of the other bigger ships, but in terms of how many of them can shoot, because obviously there's quite a few of them, they can be quite nasty to go up against. I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And obviously we've got some new upgrades on Gideon Hask there. What have we got on Hask?
So Hask has got Commander Pyre and Agent Terex. So Commander Pyre, basically when placing forces, you choose an enemy ship and that ship gains 2 stress tokens. So while you defend, if the attacker is stressed, you can re-roll one of your defense dice, so that gives you a little bit more maneuverability. Agent Terex, so you equip the card face up and you place 3 calculate tokens on that card. At the start of the engagement phase, you can choose a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 and remove 1 calculate token from that card to have on that ship and have them gain a matching token. Again, that's still quite handy to use. I've used calculate tokens quite a lot when flying separatist lists, and they are quite handy little tokens and actions to use.
Yeah, they're a cheeky little token that, although it's not quite as powerful as a focus, having that there can be quite handy. Now, Wes has obviously just had to sit the G off because it's quite a bulky ship with those wings. Now, you mentioned Commander Pyre's ability there, and it looks like that has gone onto Horton to start with. Now, I'm not sure how effective that's going to be straight away, as there's not going to be much combat going on early by the look of it. They're taking a bit more of a slow, reserved approach to start with. But it does obviously nullify some of the moves that Horton would have been able to do. So he might have wanted to go a bit faster to start with, but he's having to take those slow moves to get rid of those stress tokens straight away. I mean, who would you put your money on if you had to bet on this?
Oh, I'm gonna have to say First Order and stick with the Empire. The dark side is strong with me, so yeah, I'm gonna stick with First Order. Nothing against the Rebels, sorry, but I do love my Empire.
No, I think it's a tough one. Obviously, you've got a lot of health on the Rebel side for them to chew through, but you also have a lot of guns down there on the First Order to do that. And the First Order having shields on those basic ties is a massive boon over a classic Imperial swarm list, because it gives them that little bit of extra survivability. So it is going to be quite interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah, especially with the 2 TIE SF as well, because of course they've got forward and back turrets. And I really like using those ships, especially since the pilot card automatically has the heavy blaster turret equipped on the pilot cards. So you have got that extra firepower from there, so you can obviously shoot out the front or the back, whereas the other 3 TIE fighters can't necessarily do that. They don't have turrets, so therefore they can only shoot forwards. So you've got more options there in terms of range and where you can shoot.
Absolutely, and if you notice, the 2 TIE-Fs do currently have their arcs to the rear, so Wes is keeping his options open there, that if he does have to sort of fly past, he can still get those cheeky shots back towards those rebel ships. But it is going to be an interesting one to see. Like I said, the hull upgrades on the 2 Y-Wings and Braylon it makes it a little bit daunting in the amount of damage you then need to put through to be able to take those out. So it'd be interesting to see how he copes with that. And especially there's no real shenanigans that the First Order can actually do when it comes to affecting the enemy. Their shenanigans are definitely more synergizing off those calculate tokens, and if Gideon has the shot with Commander Pyre B on his ship, he gets to do that reroll with the stress. Let's have a quick look. So again, I'm not 100% familiar with the G class either, so I'm just seeing what other shenanigans he actually has.
So Gideon Hask is, while you are a friendly small ship at range not to performs a primary attack against a damaged defender. If the attacker has rolled 2 off your attack dice, it may then gain a strain token to roll an additional attack die. So that could
really
be quite
good.
handy. Yeah, that is really good.
Well, considering everything on Wes's side, unless they're at range 1, is only shooting 2 dice. So, given the fact that other than Gideon, the TIE-FOs and the TIE-SF are all at a lower initiative than Kev's list, I'm pretty sure they'll be happy to take that strain to get the additional dice, know that they're not going to get shot back. So all they'd have to do is do a blue maneuver to clear that strain. That's a really nice little bit of synergy there.
Yeah, it's quite clever. I really do like that. Also like as well that it's a traditional TIE swarm as well. It looks as if it's all being flown in formation as well, which I really do like to see.
Yeah, that is quite nice. And formation flying, it's not the easiest thing to pull off, but when you can do it well, it looks really good. I mean, it looks like we've got one little TIE FO breaking off on the far right of that formation. So you've got the bait in the middle, and then the little catcher at the side to see what happens there. Almost hedging his bets, knowing that the rebels are either going to come towards one section or the other. Now, with all of the games in this Saleucami Showdown, they are hyperspace lists, so we're not going to see some of the normal shenanigans we would see in there, but it does provide that extra little bit of flavour to it, so it makes it a bit, you've got to really think about your list and what you want to add in there, compared to an extended list where you get access to pretty much everything. Although saying that, with the First Order, you get access to all the chassis. I think you pretty much get access to all the ships as well, so it doesn't really hamper them. It's more the upgrades that they have available that you miss out on. Just
Looks as if they're going through the middle.
Yeah. Well, rebels do favour a joust normally. Again, having a lot of hull and generally quite a few shields just makes them not as scared to do that. And I always, if I'm flying my Empire or First Order list, I do try and avoid jousting, especially with rebels and resistance, because they seem to like that. Oh, and we do have an early first shot here.
We do.
So range 3 with marksmanship live. So it's Horton versus the White Zeta Squadron. So 2 crits there.
Ouch.
Oh, 2 focuses. So spending that focus, I think that's a wise choice there, even though you've got a range 3 shot.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's just sort of seeing, can we scratch a little bit of paint there? So 2 shots back, 2 hits. Ow. And that was 2 blanks. So that's two shields off of Horton in the very first engagement. That is definitely not the start you would be looking for there.
No. But saying that the Y-wings have got quite a bit of hull, so it's probably quite handy with them having that hull upgrade on them, just to give them a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah, they've got that little bit extra on there too. So it looks like as well, Wes might have accidentally put one of his ships on the base backwards. The actual pilot card itself is facing the right way, but the ship is moonwalking around the board at the moment, so he's going to sort that out in a moment. To be honest, easily done with a TIE fighter, to be honest. Like the back and front, they don't look that much different.
No, they are very symmetrical ships.
I do like the way they look on the board as well. Like the white wings with the black lining on it. It's very striking. It looks imposing.
Yeah, I was about to say striking as well. They do look really good, especially when you look at the TIE SFs as well with the lovely red stripe. It's almost like a racing stripe in a way.
I do love that red stripe. I remember seeing it in The Force Awakens, and as soon as I saw that red stripe, I was like, I want all my TIE fighters to have that red stripe on them. And I didn't quite realise at first that it was a different variant, because at that point, the TIE SF wasn't actually available in X-Wing, it was only the TIE FO. So I do have a few where I've put that red stripe on there. And then the TIE SF obviously came out, and I was like, that makes a lot more sense, and wow, it looks good. It's got those chunkier actual pylons to the wings on there as well.
They do look really good. I'm really looking forward to see if you've seen Mandalorian, haven't you?
Oh, of course I have.
Yes, it's a silly question, wasn't it? The TIE fighter at the end, where the wings actually fold down a little bit like the X-wings foils.
Like the S-foils, yeah.
That'll be quite that'll be quite interesting to see if FFG actually bring that ship out as well.
Well, I'd like to think so. I did. There's a few message boards that I chat with people on, and someone did mention the other day that the Razor Crest, I believe, is looking at Q1 of 2021 is when they're looking at that, or Q1 to Q2. So we might see some other ships from the Mandalorian coming in about that time. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that TIE fighter. It'd be interesting to see if there are any other new ships that come in the season 2 of the Mandalorian, which at the time of recording this was not actually out. But it'd be interesting to see if there are any new ships that come out in season 2 that they might include and have maybe a Mandalorian focused release wave, similar to how they've done sort of First Order and Rogue One release waves. So it'd be quite nice to see what they do there.
Yeah, that would be quite interesting to see. I mean, I'd absolutely love it, and it's probably get me flying scum again. Is if they have a crew slots as the child, just causing little shenanigans on the inside of the ship. That would be quite cute and cool.
So the discussion we've had with regards to the child before is that we reckon that it won't be just a sole crew slot. We reckon that it will actually be an illicit and crew slot.
Ooh.
Because if you think in the lore of it, originally he was smuggling it. It was a bounty. It was only later on that that the child became part of the crew. So an illicit crew slot would work quite well there. And it would also mean that they would not necessarily have to put that scum faction requirement on there. So it could be something that you could have in First Order now with Gideon Hask being able, with the G class being able to actually have the illicit slot on there. Not with Gideon though. It is Agent Terex with his 3 illicit slots, so you can essentially have it there. Or you could obviously have it in Scum. There's the Falcon, which I believe has the illicit slot in Rebels and Resistance. So there's a few other places it could go. But I think it'd be quite a good little bit of flavour to have that. And especially now with the recent wave that has come out, you're seeing a lot more cards which aren't just if they are a dual slot, it's not just dual crew, dual missiles. You've got crew gunner, etc. You've got config modifications, so it's not out of the realms of possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I do like as more things come out, and obviously as they're bringing more things out, they're tying it in more with some of the new TV series or the new movies. That obviously the more ships and more upgrades you have, the more variety there is. So of course that means that the possibility of lists and upgrades that you have on those lists are completely endless.
Yeah.
The games are always going to be really, really interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, you think there's more ships from the Clone Wars that we can get coming out. There are interesting things you've got from Rebels that we could see more of. Resistance, although I'm not going to lie, I've not really watched much of the Resistance. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but there are still things that we can see from Resistance. So far, all we've had is the Fireball and Major Bombrig's tie, but you've got the I believe it's the T-85 X-Wings in there as well. Not sure how they would fit in the game as a difference to the T-75 or the T-70 or the T-65, but again, something different there. And then any other different ships we see in The Mandalorian. So, I mean, I'm always happy to see new and exciting things. I mean, personally, I'd be interested to see if we get anything new for the Rebels faction, because that's the only faction that hasn't had anything new since version 1. They've not had anything new since version 1, in fact.
I'm really trying to rack my brain to think of the last ship that came out for Rebels, and I honestly can't remember. I mean, it's probably because I don't play it very often, but even still, I try and keep up to date with all the articles from FFG, and I really struggle.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they've had
think of Rebels.
Yeah, I mean, they had the reprint of the U-Wing and the X-Wing at the end of version 1 with the new version 2 Cartoon Source Renegade. They've had the new model for the Y-Wing, the new model for the X-Wing, and the new model for the B-Wing. So we do have a hit there on the yellow Zeta Squadron. But yeah, I think one of the last new ships they've probably had, you're probably looking The also itself called Shepherd, I think, was probably one of the last new ships they actually had. That's quite a while ago.
Yeah. Gosh, here it is, thinking about it.
Right. Well, we've got a little bit of a melee happening here, so let's just switch back to the game. So range 2, 1 hit. Debating the focus there. Yeah, using the focus to reduce the amount of damage going in onto the Zeta squadron there.
Noticed as well that the Y-wing at the back, I think it's Nora Wexley, has bumped again for the second turn. Now, is that a tactical bump?
I would say most likely not, unfortunately. I think Nora would definitely be wanting to get some actions in there. And I think if she'd have actually completed her move, she probably would have been a bit further out and maybe even had marksmanship on. So 2 hits there from Braylon, and that's 2 evades. So those TIE fighters are showing just how nimble they are. Now, we do have the First Order firing back. Now, one thing that I have noticed there is that so Wes actually does have initiative, and we've seen that obviously Gideon, everything on the First Order has flown first, but for some reason he's not shooting Gideon in the correct order, so there is a bit of a misplay there in that Gideon should be shooting before Horton, Tendam and Braylon, but for some reason they've missed that, so I'm not entirely sure what's happening, how that's been missed there, but hopefully they keep that. Either they'll just keep that the whole way through the game and then there's no chance of any mishaps there, but it is a bit of an interesting one.
Oh, there's damage taken.
Oh yeah, there is damage with Horton, which means that Gideon's ability now actually triggers. So we'll see, will Wes be looking to use those strain tokens to good effect to get additional dice?
Yes.
And there's the first strain. And that paid off, 3 hits.
Oh.
So that's 2 more damage onto Horton. This looks like it's going to be potentially quite painful. So it looks like the faux show is having a bit of a good time with it right now.
Oh gosh, yeah, fully agreed. This is why I love the First Order so much, because they're just such good fun to fly, and it's also nice as well flying TIE fighters that have actually got shields.
Yeah, I mean they're just a really good ship. They've got that extra little bit of health to them. They've got a pretty good dial actually. I mean they've got access to the white one hard, which is scary. Like a white one hard is a scary maneuver. They've got all the 2s, which are blue, kind of like an Inceptor, which is quite nice. They've got access to all the 3s, including the blue one forward. So it's only the super short moves that they miss out on, but they've got a 2 sloop and a 4 K-10, so they've got that maneuverability there. And these I3s, they're only 28 points apiece. They are not expensive at all.
No, they're not. I mean, even as they're being flown now with no upgrades on whatsoever, they are still really, really powerful ships.
Yeah. And I mean, there's another bit of damage onto Horton there, so they are doing exactly what they need to be doing.
It's like the focus firing down.
And now we've got the White Ziz squadron having a go. Hit crit. So that's a crit going through on Horton, so not good. Ooh, loose stabilizer. That's not good, so he's going straight until he repairs that. And Horton does not have a turret on him either, so he really does not like that.
No.
So
Next question is is he going to get rid of the proton bombs before he potentially goes out with only 2 hull left?
yeah, and right now is not a time. I mean, right now you could potentially go, let's drop the proton bomb and try and go fast to get my guys out of the way. But with those FOs coming in, it's likely that they're going to block up any channel, so they might take damage, but they might block you in there. And I don't know if you want to risk that. But I can imagine that Horton is probably going to be doing some form of. If he's going to want to keep guns on, he's probably going to end up doing some form of K-turn. I doubt, with 2 hull left, I doubt he's going to risk turning in just to get a shot and losing a hull. I don't think he wants to risk that. But if he had 4, 5 hull, then maybe he would potentially risk it. But I wouldn't be doing that right now, to be honest with me. But we'll see. So what would you be doing with the First Order right now? You're quite close in with those rebels. What would be your thoughts for repositioning?
So I've got 2 options there. So what I could do is do the shortest maneuver possible, that may be a 1 or a 2, just to try and keep them in forward arc at range 1, or to block some ships and force you from having any actions. Or I could risk flying completely over you and doing some 4K turns just to try and get behind you and pull your flank. Yes, it means I won't have any actions because I'm stressed, but I can still shoot on you and hopefully not have myself in arc of your ships. But I'm not sure. There's so many different options you could do. I mean, I would like to try and keep them in formation. So for me personally, I would fly them over the top and turn them around.
I think the difficulty is obviously your Zeta squadrons don't have that K-turn. And I think that rock in front of the White Zeta squadron it's in a bit of an unfortunate spot. Because it's hard to judge, but I think a 1 bank might still land on it either way. So you've either, and the 2 bank would bump straight into either Horton or Braylon. Looking at it, I'd be tempted, so with that one, do a 1 hard in either direction. The FOs, I'd be looking at K-turns, and I'd be looking at swooping this guy, which... Did he swoop or did he just do a 3 bank? He did swoop.
Nice.
Yeah, I think with him, that's a very good option. He could have gone either way there. He could have just stayed facing up and shot out the back, but I think this way it gives him the utility to come back around a little bit in a minute. Let's see if I was right about that 1 bank.
Might be able to squeak it in. We'll see.
So close. So it is actually a bump into Horton and doesn't land on the right. Okay, so I was wrong about that, but it was so tough to judge, and that is quite close. But again, that's quite a nice position there, because I reckon that you'd probably either have Tendum or Nora right in front of you. Just the 2 forward, so really clogging up the lanes there then. Yeah, so now if Tendum was trying to do a jump over, that will bump and most likely be forced back into a bump either. Depends if he lets Horton go first or if he gets Horton go last.
Another swoop by the looks of it.
Oh, lovely.
Yes.
I am loving what Wes has done here.
I keep forgetting about the sloops.
The sloop is just a nice maneuver. Ooh, 4K here.
Oh.
Oh, wow. So only one bump there. And that was with that SF in the middle, which I think is actually a pretty good bump there because he can shoot forward or back either way. And then the G. I don't even know what the dialogue is like on the G. Well, it's similar to the lat, actually. So there's a bump there for the G.
Well, it looks as if the way that Horton, Tennum, and Nora are, it looks as if they're coming right through the middle. So yeah, he's bumped without any actions, but he can still shoot.
Ooh, so it looks like Horton just went straight there. Oh, so he's going to do a red barrel roll there. They're doing the barrel roll, looking to try and get out of. So he looks like he was in yellow Zeters and definitely in the G. So he's still going to be in the G. I don't think he's put himself quite into the white Zeters arc, but it looks like Horton will only be getting shot by one at the moment if Wes decides to go for that. And what is... Oh, and there's 10 doing a 2 straight forward.
Is it going to fit?
No, it doesn't.
Does it not?
It doesn't fit. The back of it actually collided with the white Zeta. So, that is exactly where Wes wants to see that B-wing, sat right in front of 3 guns, 2 of which are at least at range 1. Be interesting if the G is at range 1. And that's a nice place for Braylon to be. Again, currently in range 1 of 3 arcs, I reckon.
It's not bad.
So is he going to try and barrel roll? Is he going to try and fail the barrel roll onto the rock? Or is he going to barrel the other way to put him in only 1 range 1 arc? But if he stays there, he has a shot on the G.
He's going to go for it.
Yeah. Okay. I think the one thing I would say is that's put him out of arc of everything. So I think I would have failed the barrel roll onto the rock to get that stress, which gives you the double modifications with Braylon, but also would allow you to still have a shot. We've got a bump with Nora. So no action there, but Nora does have marksmanship, which is quite nice for her. She's going to go range 1 on the Red Omega Squadron. That's another thing I do like about First Order. Where their ships aren't actually referred to as like coloured squadrons, like Blue Squadron, Gold Squadron. When you've got them coloured like this, it doesn't feel strange saying Red Omega Squadron. Whereas if you're saying, oh yeah, the Red Blue Squadron, it sounds really silly.
Yeah.
So debating whether to range 1 or range 2 with marksmanship. And Wes is just going to do his calculates from Terex. He's putting that on higher. So let's have we go for that marksmanship trigger. So 2 dice into the Red Omega Squadron. So 2 crits there, so that's not too bad. And only 1 evade, so he's spending the focus because right now he does not want to be taking crits straight away. And that was 4 tokens, 3 focuses and a crit with no focus, and that was evaded.
Quite good.
And as you said, Braylon is out there. So yeah, like I said, if Braylon had stayed where he was, he would have had a nice shot on Gideon there. Admittedly, he would be taking 3 ranged ones back, so it's a very defensive shot. So Gideon's going to go for a range 2 there onto Horton.
Can he finish Horton off?
Ooh, well, he's straining himself to get that 3rd dice.
I think
3
he's
dice. He's only
going
got to
for it.
calculate though. So 2 hits there. And that is that Y-wing blown up.
Ouch.
S in the chat for Horton Psalm. That was quite brutal. 3 rounds of shooting took that Y-wing down, so very, very good focus firing there. And also quite clever to use Gideon there, knowing that Gideon had sort of that range of shots that he could take, and thinking, you know what, I've got the opportunity to take out Horton and actually really going for it. So I do like what Wes has done there.
Yeah, that was really good focus firing there. Definitely was.
Yeah.
Now to see which one goes next.
Yeah.
Will you
So
focus down the other Y-wing or one of the Bs?
Yeah. Well, that was a hit crit on the B-wing. 1 shield gone. Range 1 into the rear of Braylon. Just 1 hit. It's a bit of a shame there. But it goes through. Oh, no, using Braylon's stress to reroll. Blank to blank. That's got to be the worst reroll when you go blank to blank.
Yeah.
So range 2 there. Crit. Blank with the stress. So blank to evade that time. So we've got the Zeus squadron going at the Y-wing, going at Nora. 2 hits. Nora's ability is going to kick in here, which is going to be really handy for her. So Nora's ability, while you defend, if there is an enemy ship at range 0 to 1, add 1 crit result to your dice results. So that's actually allowed her to ignore that attack essentially. And we've got 1 more shot going into the B-wing. 1 hit and an evade. So despite losing Horton there, not as damaging for Kev as we could have expected.
Yeah, they've definitely held their own that round, despite losing one of the Y-wings.
I mean, it is a bit of a shame for Kev that he was only able to take 1 damage off of 1 TIE fighter. So at the moment, it really is sitting in Wes's favour, having taken Horton out. So that's 46 points for Wes at the moment. So, but if he keeps up at that rate, we're going to lose. Those rebel ships are going to go down fairly quickly. So, kind of got to hope for a little bit of a turn in fortune there for Kev. Otherwise, this could be quite a quick game. Which Wes might not be too disappointed about, but I know it's sometimes better if we get to see a bit more flying.
Yeah. So where do you think the remaining ships are going to go then from your side?
So with the rebels, it's quite a tough one. So we've got a stressed out Braylon. So he's going to need to try and clear that stress. So it's most likely going to be a one bank towards the middle of the board, because then he can reposition with his barrel roll. I really don't know what I'd do with Tendon, because he's right in the thick of things. Obviously, you need to wait for those ties to move out the way to really know where to go, but you can almost guarantee that at least two of those ties are going to end up behind him somehow. So I don't know. I think it's such a tough one.
Yes, I mean, there's 1, 2.
I think maybe a too hard round that rock to try and come up on those other two TIE fighters behind Braylon. Maybe see if
Definitely.
See if you can get a bit of firepower in there. Unfortunately, with Nora, that's going to be quite difficult to follow that round as well, because again, where that rock's placed, you could probably do. You could probably do a 1 or 2 bank, and it would definitely clear that. But again, it's not going to give you much in the way of good shooting opportunities. I think this is where the Y-Wings not having turrets is actually going to be a little bit damaging for him.
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult one to judge because all the ships are so close together. It's quite difficult to try and work out where they're going to go, who's going to, because pretty much there's been bumping every single round so far, I think. So it's definitely a difficult one to judge, to see where everybody's going to go.
I mean, the bumps definitely favour the First Order here. But I reckon that you're going to get a sloop from the White Zeta. I reckon the Yellow Zeta is going to move first, doing a 1 forward or 1 bank. Then that White Zeta will probably sloop into where that yellow one essentially is at the moment.
Mm.
Possible big K-turn from the Red Omega Squadron. Ooh, doing a two bank round. Nice, fits quite nicely in there as well.
Yeah, it looks as if that's good placement. So if the B-Wing and the Y-Wing decide to do some banks or forwards and fly past the little TIE fighter, that he'll still have them in range. Be interesting to see though whether that does actually happen. Because of course, if they bump behind, it's not going to be any shot. So
yeah. So we've got the 3 token out, 3 template. So
Ooh.
Is that going to be that 3 sloop? If it is, I like that a lot. Oh yes, I like that a lot.
That was a good call.
So those 2 Zetas just switching positions there and going, you know what? I like what you did a minute ago. I'm going to copy that. So if that Zeta does a 2 bank afterwards, it's very much a follow the leader situation. But that's nice. Ooh, 4K turn, nice. Really putting that kill box in there.
It seems at the minute, no matter where the rebels go, they are always going to be within arc of one of the TIE fighters.
So I think keeping the TIE fighters arcs on is the harder one because they've got the one arc. But with those SFs having the dual arc, they can disengage, as it were, but they're still engaging. So they can move away, but they can still shoot as they're sort of repositioning, which is really nice for them.
Yeah, they're definitely one of my favourite ships to fly in First Order.
Yeah, and yeah, so I think at the moment everything is looking towards trying to focus down Ted and Nora there. I reckon that last one, just do a cheeky forward, see if we can keep Braylon. No? So, 2-bag bumping. So might still, will most likely still have Braylon in arc, so actually that does work quite nicely.
Yeah, that might still work in its favour. It looks as if it will.
Yeah, and what's the G doing? Oh, interesting. One bank that way. I wonder if that's to try and keep a bit of arc coverage there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was quite good. I mean, I think that's something that I would try and do as well, because you're either going to force one of the other guys to bump, or you're still going to have one of them in arc. But of course, it depends where the rebels are going. I mean, obviously that B-wing has just gone and proven me wrong and gone and flown straight past, waving goodbye at the same time, going, "See you later." But where is the Y-wing going to go?
I mean, to be honest, I kind of anticipated that, but he does have a range 1 shot coming at him. But he's going to barrel roll across, which is going to get... Still going to have 2 arcs on him.
But they're not going to be as nasty, because I think they're probably going to be range 2 by the looks of it.
Yeah, but if they're range 2, then they'll just use Gideon's... Oh no, they can't use Gideon's ability. He doesn't have damage on him at the moment. That's a shame. They could use Gideon's ability to add dice. But again, we need to see where Braylon's going. Is Braylon even going to be able to have... Well, I reckon Braylon will come in and be able to have a shot, but as to at what? Ooh, interesting. That was a lot faster than I expected. Especially given the fact it's stressed. Not trying to pump. Then again, it's Braylon, he doesn't mind having the stress. He gets the rerolls with that, so he's going to have a nice shot towards Gideon there.
Ooh. Does that bump? Yeah, that looks as if it's going to bump.
Yeah, so bumped into Gideon. So got 3 shots at Nora there. Potentially 4 if he decides to do the TIFO.
Ooh.
So there's all the shields off of the yellow Zeta there. O to be quick draw and shooting back right now. Yeah, Tendom does have a shot. He nearly didn't have a shot actually on that Omega Squadron, which would have been slightly awkward after that barrel roll. And that's a range 2 onto the green Omega Squadron. Still currently full health, so now debating there whether to spend the stress.
Is he gonna do it?
Yeah, he's doing it. 1 hit, 1 crit.
It's not bad.
Spending the focus, so no damage. So no focus token left, but also has not taken any damage. So
Still quite good.
yeah. Now just Braylon to shoot next. Looking like that's most likely going to go towards Gideon.
I agree. Yeah.
It's interesting that he hasn't put many shots into Gideon. I think obviously he's had other targets of opportunity instead. But it does still surprise me that there was not as much heading towards him. The 1 hit, reroll, one hit, 1 crit. Okay, so 1 shield there. All in all, not too bad there. So
going into the
range
back
2
of the
into the Y-wing, hit crit. So roll to focus there, adding the extra evade because of her abilities, so it's only 1 shield gone there. So got a range 1 on Tendam. Where's that range 1 on Tendam? Oh no, it's a range 2 on Tendam, range 1 on Braylon now. Hit crit. 1 evade, so just 1 shield off of Braylon there. Range 2 into Nora. Nothing's changed. And range 1 now from the yellow Zeta. One hit. So not as much damage there from Wes as he probably would have liked, and he's now given up half points on one of the Zetas. So is this the light at the end of the tunnel for Kev that starts his road to victory? Got 20, just under 23 minutes left, so it's going to be. He's got a bit of work to do. I mean, he can do this if he finishes off that Zeta and gets half on the Omega Squadron. That should put him. I think that would put him 1 point behind at the moment. But again, he's in a good position.
Yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of time to turn this round, so just have to wait and see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not over until it is over, so you've got to keep going, see what you can do. So, but like I said, those B-wings can be surprisingly manoeuvrable.
Yeah, especially when they're doing exactly what Kev's been doing and barrel rolling everywhere, in and out of arc.
Yeah. And I think as well they have that advantage. They've got that one talent roll, which even if they do that, yes, they get stressed and they can't take an action. But those two love stress. Stress is their favourite. I mean, with Tender, he's able to use that stress as a focus, and with Braylon, he can use the stress to reroll 2 dice. So they've got no qualms about the stress. Nora, on the other hand, although she is in prime position, she does have some munitions to drop if she wants to.
Of course, she's still got the Coronet.
Yeah. Probably,
been a long time since I've seen one.
Yeah, I think one of the most underrated devices in the game. You never really see it. So much so that I actually had to read up on it again the other day when it came out. And I was like, so other than looking like a really funky bow tie, how does that actually work? For those of you that, like me, weren't too sure, when that coronet goes down, if you were to go over that and it detonates, you suffer 3 ion tokens and a damage. So it's a slightly more powerful ion bomb.
It looks cool as well. So
Yeah, it does look cool.
It does look pretty cool.
I haven't actually seen a coronet on the board myself since midway through first edition, and even then it wasn't something you saw very often, but it just looked cool. Most of the time I just see it in my box of tokens looking at me forlornly going, when are you actually going to use me? Like, I exist as well.
Yeah, I think I'm exactly the same as you, to be honest. I've only ever gone against John, and when he had his K-Wings flying on the board, I think he used to use the Coronets then. But even then, that was a really long time ago, and that was when it was still version 1. And yeah, they sit waving at the bottom of the box going, use me, use me. And they don't come out to play at all. It's pretty much exactly the same as my cluster mines and proximity mines at the minute, because it's been a while since I've flown the bomber squadrons.
I mean,
but I'll definitely be getting those back out again soon.
Yeah, I tend to prefer to use. I like a good seismic charge. They can be really good. I've used proximity mines a couple of times because they're quite good for board denial. So if you get those in the right place and you can sort of funnel people if they're wary of it. Proton bombs, well, everyone loves a good proton bomb.
Oh gosh, yeah. One I haven't used yet is the bomblet generator. I've got the tokens for it and the upgrades, but I've never actually used it.
Yeah, I've not used the bomblet generator since, I think since first edition. I think back in first edition it was a bit better.
Of course, they came out, was it with the Scourge bombers from Scum that had those upgrades on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just having a quick look. So with that bomblet generator, so that's roll 1 attack dice and suffer a damage for each hit or crit. Coronet, there it goes, landing on the Red Omega Squadron. So, and as with that, after a ship overlaps or moves through this device, it detonates. When this device detonates, the ship suffers 1 damage against 3 ion tokens.
Looks with the way that is placed as well on that poor little ship, no matter which way it goes, it is going to go straight through and over that coronet as well. So that was really nice placement.
Yeah, so that essentially detonates straight away. So, I mean, as with all bombs, if they do land on the actual, well, no, with that one, so that's a mine, actually not a bomb. So with it being a mine, if it lands on you, it detonates straight away.
Yeah.
So with a bomb, even if the bomb landed on you, it wouldn't detonate until the end of the activation phase. the one I'd like to get back out on the board is the cluster mines, but I haven't actually got the upgrade cards for them yet. I've got the old first edition tokens for them.
I think I might have some spare upgrades, so if you want them, I can pop them to you if you want.
Ooh, that might be handy. I'll have a chat with you after this about that.
That's fine. I can get that sorted later on for you. I won't be able to part with my pink custom cluster mine tokens, though. Unfortunately, those will have to stay in my case.
Oh, I don't blame you.
They're my favourites. They're my babies.
I think of all of my tokens, it's the bomb tokens and the bomb tokens and the obstacles, the only ones that I don't actually have acrylic versions for. I think I'd do acrylic versions of the bombs, but not the actual obstacles. But it'll be interesting, right, see where we're going here now. So we have another sloop from the Yellow Zeta Squadron. Was that a one bank there from Whites?
I believe so, yeah, it looks like a short manoeuvre.
Yeah. And regardless about whatever Red was going to do there, it is now a one forward, which, to be honest, is a manoeuvre he didn't actually previously have. So it's probably not too bad for him.
No, that's kind of worked out in his favour, to be honest, being ions, because it's forced him to do the one forward, and of course he's still got the Y-wing for the minute in arc.
Yeah.
So that could have possibly worked out in their favour.
So one thing that Wes has missed there, he's only taken one ion token away as though it was like a stress token. What it actually does is, because he's done his ion maneuver, he should have got rid of all of the ion tokens. So ion tokens work different to other red tokens, so you don't have to do the ion maneuver to get rid of them. The reason that the cluster, the ion bomb and the coronet, obviously give you 3 ion tokens is so that it can still actually affect your large base ships, because they need 3 ion tokens to be ionized. So again, another little bit of a thing missed there, but hopefully it won't have too much of an effect. And Gideon's getting himself out of the way there. So if this was the end of the movement phase, I would not want to be Nora right now. As it is, Nora will be able to get out of that. So I think this phase actually looks like it could be favouring Kev quite strongly here. Got 2 hard from Tendum. So that looks like it's keeping him in maybe 2 arcs. He may have a shot. I'm again surprised he's not deliberately stressing himself there to give that double modification. Ooh, 4K turn from Nora. Gets himself out of that big cluster of range 1 shots, but into shots there from Yellow, White Omega. White Zeta's probably still got a shot on him. Does Wes try and focus down Nora, do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it would be wise. I mean, to be honest, the B wings are sort of at the back at the minute. The majority of the fire does seem to be on Nora at the moment, so I think it would be a wise choice to go for that ship, especially when one of them, the one right at the bottom, I believe that's the yellow Zeta Squadron, looks as if it is potentially at range 1. So that is a good shot. I mean, Gideon's probably not got a shot, which is fair. I mean, he's still ritty, chunky, hull and shield wise. But have to wait and see what happens, really, and how well Nora can survive it should they decide to focus fire.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be very, like I said, got 7 hull left, but no shields. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 shots in there. You could be utilising Gideon's ability to get some strains on the White Zeta, White Omega, and Red Omega to give them 3 shots. So nothing from Nora there. So it looks like we've got a range 2 through the rock from 10 num onto red. So doubt there'll be much there. Spending the focus. And 3 evades in the focus, so red is laughing that off.
That was quite lucky.
Yeah. So range 1 into white, rerolling 2 because of the stress. 2 hits and a crit there, so that's a bit better. So just 1 shield off the White Omega, so that was definitely a wise choice there, taking that evade token. Obviously, initially he took that evade token thinking that he wasn't going to get any shots coming at him, but it has paid dividends there.
Yep, they're going for Nora.
Oh, no damage yet. Oh, so now that she's got that crit.
How fast will she go down?
Yeah. So that's a fuel leak there on Nora. So now he's got that damage, you can start using Gideon to get the strain. Will he remember it? He has remembered it. Excellent. This is where the hurt is going to start coming in on Nora now. Especially with that fuel leak. If he gets another crit in there, it's going to be painful. That's disappointing though. Absolute whiff there. Nice range 1 there. 2 crits. Ouch. Oh, got the evade and then Nora's ability. That is the last place you want to see that.
Ouch. He's still going for it though.
I don't blame him. I'd also be focus firing him down.
Yeah, especially when there's only so much left on the timer as well.
Yeah,
want to keep ahead on those points.
Hit and crit. Oh, again, Nora's ability. She is probably one of the hardiest Y-Wings you will ever see. Really utilising that being at range 1 there. So no damage taken by Wes, so he'll be happy about that, but only 1 damage going back into Kev. Yes, it was a fuel leak, but I think I'd have preferred to have had 2 or 3 damage in there with the amount of shots he had coming through. I think the G shuttle has been a bit lost at sea. All he's really been able to participate in this game. Well, okay, he got the final blow in on Horton, but other than that, all he's been doing is passing out the odd calculate and allowing the other ships to strain themselves. Hasn't really done as much as I would have expected.
Yeah, true. It's quite difficult to judge the light shuttle, but I think that's only because I personally haven't seen them fly until now, or even flown them myself. It's sort of acting in a way a bit more like a support ship, which is great, but at the same time, you can still fire with those ships. So, yeah, I think it could have been utilised maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it is definitely your support platform there. It's not like the Upsilon, which is like your support platform, but with that incredible firepower that it has. Its dial isn't very good for turning around. It's got no actual turnabout maneuvers. The quickest it can turn around is a double two hard turn, which would take 2 turns. And at this point, he would need to get his guns to bear. Unless he somehow blocks Nora, he would need 3 turns of turning around to get his guns back in. So he is essentially just there now to potentially pass out that last calculate and use Commander Pyre, his own ability there to dole out those strain tokens and give them the additional die. But at the moment, Wes needs to sort of close the net on one of those ships and see if he can focus them down. It'd almost be a case of does he turn it around and start trying to focus in on Brainerd instead? But I think keep it all in on Nora is going to be a better option. I mean, there's a good spread of arc there.
Yeah, especially with it being such a difficult one to take down, as we've just seen as well, with her cheeky little pilot ability.
Yeah. I mean, even if Nora bumps into the yellow Zeta Squadron there, you've still got a really nice range 1 shot. So just clearing the stress there. And again, unfortunately, here's the miss where it seems to think that he still needs to take that ion maneuver. So, Wes, if you are watching this, just a reminder, when you're ionized, once you've done an ion maneuver, you remove all ion tokens, because that would be rather brutal if you essentially ion walk that ship off the board. Not that you would from the position it was in, but there's a nice sloop there. So again, interesting to see where everything goes. 2k turn from Tendum, get his guns back in the fight, get him stressed, so he's got his fake focus.
Oh, and barrel rolling as well.
And barrel rolling.
Yikes.
I think what I don't like about that, I don't know, but what I don't like about that is he's now actually barreled himself closer to that FO down at the bottom, down at the right. I would have just, so he's he's put himself in 3 arcs, whereas if he'd gone the other way, yes, he would still be in 3 arcs, but I think it would have been better.
But saying that, that little tie in the middle is within 3 arcs as well.
Yeah.
So could there be some focus fire on one of the ties to try and even out the points a bit more?
Yeah, there is that.
And it looks like Gideon might potentially have a shot on Nora if that is an arc.
Nora still needs to shoot. What is ironic here is that... Hold on. No, Nora did move. Nora bumped, didn't she?
Yeah, she bumped.
Okay. So... I mean, at this point, they've got 30 seconds left, so it's the final round. They're going to have to... So Kev's going to need to try and take out either red or yellow. Okay, so going for white in the end. I suppose he's got all 3 ships that can shoot at white. So 1 crit. Oh, and he's spending it to avoid that. Really trying to save those points now at the last round of the game. Range 2 through the rock, just exactly as the SF would like that. 3 hits, ouch. Two shields, so he's still avoiding half damage at the moment, but got range 1 now from Braylon, who has a focus and a stress.
This may not go well.
No. That's 3 hits and a crit there.
Ouch.
Definite half points, but will it be wiped off? So that's hit, crit. Panic pilot. So, not dead, so he still had... Oh no, he is gone. He took it all.
Ouch.
Oh.
And Kev has taken a very strong lead.
Yeah, so...
Gideon is out of arc.
The only... So what we need now is Wesley's to hope to get half on Nora. Which the difficulty there is obviously Nora has her ability, so going to strain to get 3 shots. So 3 hits. Evade plus her evade. That's 1 more, so that's 1 more damage on Nora. Need at least... I think it's... Need a little bit more. Need to get some more. That's not going to be enough.
No.
She gets the evade, so she ignores that. Yellow has Braylon. So I think at this point it's very difficult for Wes to get half points with Braylon. With Braylon, you need to get 2 hits on there. going for that long shot. One hit and the evade. Oh, very good game there for Wes. Absolute shame though, right in the last, watching that White Zeta squadron go from full to nothing. That was
a good game.
A savage, but very good game. Very good flying there from Wes. Nora, her ability, wow. That really came into its own in there.
Yeah, I keep forgetting how powerful Nora is, because didn't she fly in either the Arc or the K-Wing as well?
Nora was in an Arc, and I think she still is.
Right.
In the Arc, so she could do the Arc and yeah. So she's still in the Arc, and she has that same ability in the Arc as well. All in all, that was a really good game. Very well flown there by Wes, and for Kev, he stuck it out and he got that win. So well done, Kev. Not letting that spiral out of control there. Nicely done.
Yeah, that was good to turn the points back round. Again, definitely so close to the edge as well. That was some good flying.
Amy, once again, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me again. It's been a great game, and it's been great to be on again.
Absolute pleasure. We'll definitely get you back on again soon. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. As always, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell to know when the next video is coming up. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.